0864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Happy Thursday from the Country Financial Studio. Jordan Brenner here hosting Duck Insider with Joey Mack on the road, traveling to Arizona ahead of an important baseball series in the Pac-12. We'll have a lot of that coming up on the show today. Mark Wasikowski, the head coach of the Ducks, he'll be on the show in a few minutes. Jake Angier, the pitching coach. First we've heard from him in the 2023 season. Going to reflect on the young but talented 2023 Duck pitching staff and a whole lot more baseball. We'll check in with some players from Media Day or from Pro Day as well, some former Duck football greats. Christian Gonzalez getting ready for the draft, projected top 10 pick. It's also opening day, and it's a busy opening day for Oregon baseball alumni. Look at some of the great arms on that graphic right there. Tyler Anderson, of course, and looking at some others. David Peterson, projected starting pitcher for the Mets tomorrow. Spencer Steer is batting 7th today and starting at third base on opening day for the Cincinnati Reds. Just a really cool day, and good luck to all those Oregon baseball alumni. Last year, a banner year for Duck baseball in the major leagues, and hoping for another season of that here this year. I'm happy to report that I have drafted my fantasy baseball team, and there are a few Angel fans in the league with me. And I reached on Tyler Anderson according to the ADP, or whatever the kids call it these days. And the Angel fans weren't happy that I went and got Tyler Anderson. I'm happy to report that I got a trade offer. Mookie Betts for Tyler Anderson. Not only did I say no to the trade to keep Tyler Anderson on my team, I also blocked that person's number. I may have lost a friend, but I don't regret that decision at all. And let's just say a waiver claim has been put in for David Peterson after Justin Verlander went on the DL today. He's going to get a lot of opportunity for the Mets. Probable starter for the Mets tomorrow. Opening day, great day. Acro and Tumbling, some great news out of that program. Ranked at number 2, Taylor Susnara's squad, earning that ranking in the first set of NCAA championship rankings, and not a surprise because the resume speaks for itself. Wins over number 3 Azusa Pacific and number 5 Gannon in the previous weeks. The only loss came to number 1 overall ranked Baylor, and that was when Oregon put up a season-best performance, posting a score of nearly 279. Looking ahead, Oregon has 2 remaining meets, rematches against two of the top 3 teams in Baylor and Azusa Pacific. Looking ahead, the NCAA National Championships will be held at West Liberty University on April 27th through 30th. Congratulations to Oregon, Acro and Tumbling. Number 2 ranking. That's legit, and looking to beat the Baylor Bears moving forward. Big series down in the desert. It's always a bandbox down in the desert. A huge outfield at Arizona. They have a very talented Friday arm, but overall not necessarily the best Pac-12 staff. So the potential for Oregon to score a lot of runs. The offense red hot coming off of a series sweep against Northwestern State. And the head coach of the Ducks, Mark Wasikowski, happy with what he's seeing, talking with reporters yesterday about Duck baseball.
Your pitching staff and starters at a 2.20 ERA in their starts this past week, and just your thoughts on them going on from this past weekend and moving forward.
I mean, they pitched well this last weekend. It was good to see. They're making strides in the right direction, and hopefully they can keep doing that against a really good Arizona team.
You guys scored 63 runs this past weekend with that lineup changing that seventh spot where Cromwell and Benatonsi play catcher. Just what did you see from them, especially coming after the Washington State series? Just what did you see from them overall?
First and foremost, the improvement in the leadership in the catching department. I didn't feel like, especially early on, maybe versus like a UCLA, I felt like our catching position got exposed by the Perry kid at UCLA, who I think he caught like exceptionally well. And he put on a show while he was in town. And I think our catchers saw that, weren't really excited about how they matched up that weekend. And, neither were the coaching staff, and so we worked our tails off with our catchers to try to get those guys playing up to their level of ability. And I think now here recently they clearly have, which has been great. It's helped our team immensely.
What are some of the specifics that you guys did with the catching group to try to get them to, is it more like a framing or getting down and blocking balls? What specifically you guys do?
It's pretty comprehensive. I mean, Coach Martyr works with the catchers, and so he handles that aspect of it. We do a lot of things with him. It was a complete thing. It wasn't just one thing or the next. I didn't think they were throwing at their level or receiving at their level, or probably even if you ask the kids, they probably didn't think they were hitting at the level that they needed to. And then they really did work hard, and they turned it around, and I thought they caught exceptionally well last weekend.
Did you feel like you were celebrating a record or an award for Tanner like every 5 seconds this weekend?
It was pretty fun to be a part of that. Yeah, Tanner's a great kid, and had a tremendous weekend on a big weekend for him going into it, where I think he was like a hit. I think he was tied with a record going into a weekend, and then he ended up breaking multiple records on the weekend, which was just so much fun for Tanner and the team, and we got to celebrate with him. It was really neat.
Tanner has 14 hits in his last 6 games. Just how much does that broaden the lineup with him hitting 5th and getting guys at the top like Colby Shade, who's been excellent to the start this season?
Yeah, I'd love to have several guys with 14 hits a weekend. That would be something else. That's one of the best weekends I can recall of any hitter. It was disappointing that the Pac-12 chose not to give him the award for the player of the week this week. And I understand we were out of league, and there was another player that had a tremendous week. And so I don't fault the player who received the award. He had a heck of a week too, and I watched him on video. He was a force. But Tanner had an exceptional week. Love to have seen him earn any honor that he could have, just because he was so good last week, and it was a special week for him personally.
Going back to the pitching staff, Malaris, only throws 1 inning this past weekend because he doesn't really need to get in there. But no earned runs allowed this entire year, just a handful of walks, 18 Ks, and 11 innings pitched. Just what have you seen from him, and how nice is it to have a guy like that at the back of the bullpen?
Well, he's pretty fresh right now. Hopefully we won't have to, strain him or anything like that in the coming days. He can just do what he's done and been very successful at. He's just really good, and to get him as a graduate transfer to come in was really lucky that he avoided the draft. Somehow he slipped through the draft. I still don't know how that happened. He's got such a good arm, and he throws the ball over the plate. He's everything that a pro club, I think, would be looking for.
With Logan Mercado moving back to the rotation, mm-hmm. Just what did you see from him? I think he threw 109 pitches in his 6 innings. Is that, is his arm stretched out to go a little bit longer, or is that about where you want to keep him?
No, I don't. I mean, I thought it was a tremendous outing that he had, and it was right where we wanted to get him to. I don't think, stretching a guy out, it's about effectiveness for us, and if a guy's ineffective at 50 pitches, then why get him to 60? But if he's effective at 90, then yeah, let's get him to 100, 105 or whatever. But it's about effectiveness and just using your eyeballs and seeing if he's getting them out, and if the ball's coming out of his hand. And a lot of those innings, a lot of times with the pitch count, it doesn't equate how much stress they really had in an inning or during their outings. So, for example, a 70-pitch outing might be a really stressful 70-pitch outing, and may feel to the kid more like a 100 or 110-pitch outing, where sometimes a 100-pitch outing can feel like it's only about 60 or 70, just because it's a little bit easier on the arm and it's low stress.
Looking forward to this weekend, you were obviously a longtime assistant at Arizona. long time under Andy Lopez. You've talked about how much you guys have a great relationship together. Just does this weekend mean just a little bit more that you guys are going against Arizona, or is it more of like a recollection? You look back on the memories there.
Oh, I don't know. My time at Arizona was years ago, and it's exclusive of what's going on now. And I love Coach Lopez. He's a heck of a man and one heck of a baseball coach. And it'll be nice to see him and Linda and his family.
You guys, I mean, Arizona is, I wrote it down, whatever, 14-9. I guess swept by ASU last week and went over Grand Canyon yesterday. Just what have you seen from them overall when you watch tape or when you go through the stats?
All close games. Even last night's game, I think, went into extra innings, and they won it on a walk-off. They got a single and a double there in the 10th inning down the left field line to be able to score a guy from first to win the game. To be able to score in the 9th was a big deal because they were chasing Grand Canyon by a run in the 9th, and be able to do that, tie the game, come back. I'm sure they've got really good positive energy and stuff like that coming off a walk-off win. Their games against Arizona State were extremely competitive. And probably could have gone either way on several of those games. We've watched all of them on tape, and they've got a good team. They're going to be some, their first guy that gets rolled out there, the Nichols kid's got a tremendous arm. He's been up to 99 miles an hour this year, and, there'll be a ton of scouts in watching him as they should. Great kid, too. The Zastro kid, left-handed guy that really has a great arm and a very, very good slider. Can be effective on left and right-handed hitters. And I don't think they've figured out who they're going with game 3 yet, although they've got plenty of options with guys with great arms. So it'll be a competitive series.
Have you guys figured out who you're going with for the rotation?
I'd have to check with Coach Angier and see what he's got.
Of course. Arizona as a team, they hit 298. They've got a lot of lineup depth. Even their guys off the bench who have started a couple games are hitting over 300. Just how important is it for your pitching staff to get off to another good start like they did this past weekend against Northwestern State?
Yeah, I think it's really important each weekend. It doesn't matter really who you're playing. I don't think we saw Chase Davis last weekend. He's pretty good hitter, and so, to have him in the lineup this weekend for the Wildcats is going to be a guy that arguably is the best hitter in the league, or he'll be one of them for sure. Very good power hitter, and he's hitting the ball to all fields now. He hit 2 home runs last night. And so the guy's going pretty good. They've got some depth in their lineup, too, with a bunch of older guys. So we just need to attack, first pitch strikes and the principles of pitching 2 out of the first 3 and having a competitive demeanor and all those kind of things I think are going to be critical this weekend and moving forward.
On the flip side of this is that Arizona's staff overall is okay. Opponents are hitting 280 off of them. You guys have obviously gone into this really great offensive rhythm right now. Just how much confidence do you have in your offense to go into this series and make every game competitive, at least from scoring runs perspective?
Well, we'd like to clearly make every game competitive at the worst. I mean, we're not going there to participate. We don't have those kind of trophies around here. We're going to win, and we can't wait to get down there and play against a very good Arizona team. For us, it's just about basically sticking with what we do well. And when we've done that, we've been able to beat anybody. And then when we haven't done that, we've been able to lose to pretty much anybody as well. So it really is about us and what we do in our locker room. Kind of a cliche, but it's true.
Just some personnel questions. Carter Garotti, how's he doing?
Seems to be playing really well. Hit a home run in his last at bat before we took him out and gave him a little rest. And since he got put in at shortstop, I think the team's played very, very well, and that's an indicator how good of a leader he is and a defender and just a player. He's one heck of a freshman talent. And there's several other freshmen that are starting to really do some fun things for us too, which is fun for our future.
I guess, well, do you think Garotti will play this weekend? I know he missed the last game. You said it was day-to-day. Yeah.
I would imagine so, yeah.
One last thing about Isaac Aon. Just how is his progression going on through his injury, and is he back up and throwing yet, or is he still got a couple more weeks to go?
He's back up and throwing, and so he's day to day. As soon as he's ready to pitch in games, we want him pitching for us. He's that good, and he's a competitor. He's chomping at the bit, and he's been, with everything he's doing, I know he's excited to get back with the ball club. We can't wait to have him back.
Is there any ETA on when he could potentially be back, or is that you don't want to set one?
I don't think it'll be this weekend, but I could see it happening, very soon.
Coach interview brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a Duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Good to hear from the head coach of the Ducks, Mark Wasikowski, after a series sweep against Northwestern State. The story of the weekend, sure, the offense and Tanner Smith and breaking all those records, but flying under the radar a little bit was that Oregon pitching staff. An ERA just above 2 over 4 starts from Jay Stoffel, Logan Mercado, Leo Ullman, and Matthew Grabman. And looking forward to see this staff try and string a couple weekends in a row together this weekend in Tucson. The rotation's been announced. Stoffel's going to go on Friday, Mercado Saturday, and Leo Ullman on Sunday. Jake Angier talked about the pitching staff, and specifically Leo Ullman. He said he's not exactly your prototypical freshman. You'll listen to why he thinks that is after this break. It's Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Welcome to the Slocum Center Minute. Slocum Center orthopedic doctors are located here in Eugene and are the official orthopedic team physicians for your beloved Oregon Ducks. With me, I have Dr. Lucas Korchak, a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon at Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, discussing ACL injuries. Dr. Korchak, describe the ACL, what it stands for, why it's important to an athlete for their performance.
The ACL is the anterior cruciate ligament. It's the most important ligament that stabilizes your knee for anterior translation and also control during pivoting, which is very important for our athletes.
We always hear ACL injuries are one of the more common in sports. What's that like going through that recovery process for somebody that does injure the ACL?
Injuring your ACL is, on one hand, a very devastating injury. You can't participate in most sports with a damaged ACL. But on the other hand, it's an injury that you can recover from and return to a full level of participation with treatment.
Why is it that some athletes are able to recover quicker than others from an ACL injury?
When you damage your knee, it's usually a pivoting injury, and more can be damaged than just the ACL. Isolated injuries have a quicker return to sport, whereas an injury with meniscus tear or bone damage could delay your healing.
Dr. Korchak, thanks for the information and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
That was the Slocum Center Minute, brought to you by Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, the official orthopedic sports medicine team physicians for University of Oregon Athletics since 1967.
Thank you, Joey. The Slocum Center Minute back here on Duck Insider, the Country Financial Studio, brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. You know, I got my stream set up. Spencer Steer just went live for the Reds on opening day, hitting 7th. No at-bats yet. I'll keep you posted on Spencer's. Just really cool to see a guy like that rise to the major leagues and earn the opportunity on opening day after coming on and doing some impressive things for the Reds last year. on Oregon baseball, the pitching staff is trending in the right direction, and Jake Angier spoke to the media about the Duck pitching staff. He's a busy guy this year with all the freshmen that are working in this season. It's not like this team is loaded with vets. Sure, there are some like Josh Maleris and Matt Dallas and Logan Mercado, but for the most part, freshmen and sophomores for Jake Angier. He had a lot to say a couple days ago.
Just to start, just your thoughts on your staff overall to start this season, and maybe some of the walks issues going on.
Yeah, no, it's growing. I mean, I think that we've done a good job of not giving up hits. So if you're going to be bad in an area, you don't want to make sure that you're good in the other area that matters. So and limiting base runners is a big part of not giving up runs. So walks have been high. I think it's something that's indicative of a really young staff. And so I think for us, the biggest thing moving forward is continue to grow. And, I think as their experience gets better, I think they'll learn how to wiggle out of certain counts and get themselves, in positions where they're going to be more successful.
How difficult is it for you, and I guess you guys as a whole, to try to, go through those ups and downs while knowing that Pac-12 play is coming right up?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, but it's why we do it. I think that, it's something we talk about all the time, and the challenge and the competition aspect of this is why we all signed up for it. So for me as a coach, it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows all the time, but I think that's why I'm doing it. I'm having fun with it, and these guys are young, and they're growing and they're getting better, and you can see it with their confidence in what they're doing. And for the most part, it's just about learning how to prepare and take care of yourself throughout the week so that you can go out there and be successful on game day.
With some of those young guys, like we've seen the flashes of how good their stuff is, but then the walks, I know that's been the focus, but the potential of some of the young guys, can you speak to that a little bit? Just like the stuff that they have and how they could be really good in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at a guy like Grayson Grensel and Matt Grabman, those two guys are really getting outs with fastballs. And so when you can really pitch off the fastball at this level and as you climb levels, you're going to be successful. And that's what's brought them success so far this year. So, just tightening up command, here and there and being a little bit better with a secondary pitch could make those guys very dominant. And that's what we're hoping for as they grow into it, over the next several years. So, those things stick out to me with those guys. You look at Leo Ullman, who's a freshman, to me doesn't act like a freshman. I think he's probably got a little bit different perspective. His brother pitches in the big leagues with the Phillies, and I think that can help when you're around that and growing up around that. And so I think that, he's given us kind of a different type of a presence as a freshman pitcher that, has been nice to have.
With Grabman specifically, this is about his start on Sunday. Did you guys go through some sort of change in mechanic? It looked like his hands were a little bit higher than where he had been in previous starts. Is that a new thing that you're trying out?
Really, the main focus was with his lower half and getting him on time. And I think you could see with the velocity, it ticked up. He was up to 94 on Sunday, was it? And, that's been the biggest change he's made over the last, and he made that change before the Washington State weekend. He's on a pretty good run since that. And those are the types of things you deal with, with young guys. It's going to be inconsistent sometimes with a delivery, with a pitch, whatever. And so you're helping them grow in that process to really become more consistent, because we all know that's what's going to breed the most success in this game.
You mentioned earlier, like, it's not always going to be, I think you said butterflies and rainbows, but two of the butterfly and rainbows on the staff, and Maleris and Dallas this season have been, spectacular to start. Just what are your thoughts on them, and what have you seen from them and their growth out of the pen?
Older guys, in my opinion, those two guys burned their boat on having a great year, and they're doing everything that they possibly can do. And I think their veteran and experience that they've had, both of them are fifth-year guys, allows you to know what to do, leading up to games, and allows you to know how to get out of a situation when you're in a game and how to make a pitch. They've had just so many pitches over the course of their career that allows those guys to know exactly what they want to do in certain situations to be successful.
How valuable is it to have the experience like that in the back end, like in some pressure situations you're going to get into?
Well, it's huge, and it's huge for our team to know that part of the game is secure. And I think, as we talked about it, this is those guys' this is their last whack at it. They don't have another year, and so I think for one thing that we've talked about as a pitching staff is honoring that, with the fact that those guys, they want to see how far they can take it. And we need to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can, because that's what they're doing with their prep work and everything that they do leading up, to getting ready to play, making sure that you're, learning from those guys and taking what they're doing and putting it into your game.
What went into the decision to move Mercado back into the rotation?
Just felt like it was the right time. I had a conversation with him before the season. He's one of our best pitchers, and he's a total stud when it comes to being a team player. He started opening day. We felt like at the time, with us being so young, we wanted to get him in the bullpen because it just gave us as a coaching staff some security knowing that we had another veteran guy that had been successful in the bullpen. And so I think we're at a point now, some of those other guys have grown that I mentioned earlier with Grinsell, Grabman, and some of the others that we feel more comfortable starting him, because he's definitely capable of doing both. And I feel like, we can get good innings out of him on the mound as a starter, and that helps us better at this point.
How about Jace? I mean, what do you see from him? Where do you want him to go now moving forward?
Yeah, I think when you're talking about Jace and Logan, you haven't seen their best baseball yet. And they've kind of been hanging in there doing their job, but I think the best is yet to come with those guys. And both those guys saw a significant velocity increase from last year to this year, and I think anytime you see that, it can be a double-edged sword. And so I think you got to learn how to work with that new velocity, and I think as the season goes, they're going to continue to improve in that area.
How do you try to improve in that area and work with the velocity, change, and try to continue to throw strikes even though you're throwing it harder? How do you try to limit that?
As far as the velocity change, I mean, a lot of that has to do with what they're doing in the weight room, and I think that's what makes our situation special here. We have Daryl Hunter, who is a full-time baseball strength coach and has a baseball background, was pitched professionally in the Rangers organization, and so he knows how to train a pitcher and has done a really good job with bringing guys up over the course of their careers here. And you're going to see some ticks in velocity and just getting them to move better as they go down the mound and be more efficient, and that's really what leads to velocity and command improvement as you get older.
Really fascinating to hear from Jake Angier. We don't get to hear from him often, but I think this was a great time to speak with him because there's enough of a sample size to kind of see what you have if you're Oregon baseball and some of those young pitchers. Stood out to me, he mentioned the fastballs of Matt Grabman in particular. And the fact that he's getting outs with that pitch as a freshman really stands out to me. That's something that you're gifted with, that velocity. But on the other side, to hear Jake Angier talk about Daryl Hunter and the fact that actually that velocity is something in a way that you can teach in the weight room. Exciting to think about what his fastball is going to look like in a couple of years, right, after a couple more off seasons in strength and conditioning. Just a really smart baseball guy, Jake Angier here speaking with the media. Let's get a break. I want to introduce you to Dominic Hellman. Freshman sensation, power hitter. To me, he looks a little bit like Aaron Judge in the batter's box. Dominic Hellman after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Now's the time to imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Tundra. Go for a spin, enjoy some off-roading, or build your kids that treehouse you promised them. Hey, they deserve it.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends April 4th.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Now's the time to imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Tundra. Go for a spin, enjoy some off-roading, or build your kids that treehouse you promised them. Hey, they deserve it.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends April 4th.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider is brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Jordan Brenner here hanging out with you. Continuing on with Oregon baseball, talking a lot about the young pitching staff for the Ducks. How about some of the young offensive players? You think about Carter Garade, the shortstop. You also think about Dominic Hellman, who was one of the most highly recruited players in the country, decided to play baseball here at Oregon. Light tower power, and he met with the media a couple of days ago. Dominic Hellman ahead of a series with Arizona in the desert.
How did it feel to get that?
It felt pretty good. I mean, my whole goal was just to get to the next guy because late in the game, Jackson Jaha also had an at-bat above me, and he put a nice swing on the ball, and so did Tyler Gaines to get the bases on first and third. And my goal was just to barrel up the ball and make sure I could extend the innings for the next guys to get in behind me.
You hit that ball a good way. I mean, we've heard a lot about your power and your exit velocities reaching into the triple digits. Just did you get all on that one? It still went far away, but did you get all of that one?
I did get all of that one. At least I thought I did. I put a good swing on it, and it did connect with the barrel, and see-ball, hit ball.
You've been getting a little bit more playing time recently at the DH or first base. Just specifically about first base, how much have you tried to work on that defensively, especially coming into Oregon as a shortstop?
Yeah, it's been tough, but I have a great support system behind me with Tyler Gaines, Towns King, and Jacob Walsh helping me out at first, being a young guy, obviously, and them having so much experience. But it's pretty nice having those guys behind my back and supporting me and helping me on the little things that I could get better at first.
Do you feel like you can project there now? Like, what's going to be your position moving forward?
Hopefully, I could get back to short, but obviously I'll do whatever it takes for a team to win. If they want to DH me, if they want to play me at first, or put me in left field or even behind the plate, I don't care. Whatever it takes to win, I'll do it.
What are some of the hitting approaches that you've been working on with Jack Martyr and just trying to adjust to the collegiate level of pitching?
Martyr has a lot of faith in me, whether that's sticking to my approach or even knowing what to hit. But honestly, he's just getting back to the basics with me and kind of like doing pitch recognition stuff and also knowing what they were throwing at me. And it's honestly, it just all comes down to see-ball, hit ball.
How do you feel like you've grown since coming to Oregon, since coming here in the fall and getting into fall baseball? How do you feel like you've grown in general?
Well, I feel like I've grown a lot with the coaching staff and also the team. It's cool to come to a program where no one is above anyone. And so as a culture, we all play for each other and there's no egos on the team, which is awesome. And I feel like this is a huge part of helping me develop not only being humble, but also getting better and being a better person outside of baseball too.
Tom, this is our first time talking to you. I think this is the media. Just what went into your decision to come to Oregon? And you were a really highly rated recruit coming out of high school, but you stick with at least the 3-year commitment to stay here at Oregon. Just what went into that?
Honestly, it was just I knew I was gonna have a good time here, and I knew the coaches believed in me. I've had a relationship with them since like freshman year of high school, and they always called me, checked on me, and honestly it made me feel like I was already a part of Oregon even before committing, and that was kind of a huge aspect of me. It was kind of like a family type deal, and I just felt love from them ever since.
From here where do you look to improve upon the most? Is it either offensively or defensively? And just, what do you think will help you stay in the lineup for as often as you can?
I feel like offensively and defensively, I feel like all aspects of my game. One thing that I like to improve on is obviously my defense and also hitting. But honestly, I'm just looking to improve everywhere on my game.
What's been the hardest transition for you for playing in college ball?
I'm gonna say time management. Time management was a huge thing. Coming out of high school, it was pretty like just school and then baseball and then homework. But here, it's kind of like you have all the miscellaneous things that your parents would do, like cooking, grocery shopping, laundry. And so that's kind of like a huge thing that my parents did help me get self-sufficient on, whether I was cooking and doing laundry. But it's kind of like the miscellaneous things that you think that you have time for in the day, but you really don't, and you have to really plan your day accordingly.
Do you have a least favorite chore?
Oh, I'm gonna say dishes. Dishes was a hard one for me. I'm a huge paper plate and disposable guy. I have no problem taking out the trash, so I'll just eat something on paper plate, throw it away, take out the trash in a week, and we're golden.
Spoken like a true freshman. Your lower leg injury, just how is that progressing? How do you feel now compared to where you were, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago?
I'm feeling great. I have a great trainer behind me, Cody, and he's helped me to get back to 100%. So now I'm just not necessarily going day by day now. Now I'm 100% ready to go attack the season.
Someone who comes in like you, I know you've been familiar with the program now for years. You watch what Tanner did over this past weekend. I mean, what does somebody your age, where you're at in your career, think about what Tanner's doing right now?
Oh, it's so cool what he's doing. I've been watching him since I was a sophomore, and it was pretty nice seeing him play against UW at UW last year when I saw him on the on-deck circle and hitting a bomb there, and also experiencing it in the dugout while I was here. And it's kind of not trying to be like a fanboy, but it's like a dream come true a little bit.
Dominic Hellman, a lot of interesting things to say. He's a funny guy, honestly. Excited to see where he goes from here. It's a tough situation for Mark Wasikowski to be in because you got to get a guy like that at bats. They found those at bats, 10 of them against Northwestern State. What does the freshman do but hit 300? First career home run, first career double. He's a legit part of this future, and it's going to be interesting to see how Mark Wasikowski navigates that with so many players playing well at the same time. One thing's for certain, I do not envy Mark Wasikowski in that decision, but it's a good problem to have for Oregon baseball. One player who is as secure as they come in their position is Colby Shade, and that's because of his dominance as a two-way player at the plate and in the field. Colby Shade meeting with the media on Tuesday.
Records this weekend, just how great is that to see, especially you being a teammate of his for a while?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see. Long time coming, being around him for 3 years, the great player he is, and it's really not surprising at all that he broke those records, and he's probably going to break 10, 15 more by the end of the year. Probably in a couple of years, I'll be showing my kids the Oregon record book, and they'll say Tanner Smith, Tanner Smith, Tanner Smith, but yeah, couldn't be happier for him.
Not to be outdone, but you yourself, you're hitting 357 this year. You've been on a tear ever since that 6 RBI game. Just what have you found that's been going right at the plate so far?
I think just competing and kind of just talking with other guys on the team, kind of what's working for them. Talking with Sabine, Tanner, Gavin, everyone, kind of just what guys are throwing them in certain spots, and kind of just working together as an offense to compete to our best ability and go up to the plate with the best knowledge we have.
What are some of those things that you picked off of other guys? If there's specifics.
Just sometimes, teams will pitch me and Sabine the same way, so we work together, or they'll pitch, just like tendencies that they'll do throughout the game, either the second or third time through the lineup. So kind of just thinking that they're going to do that the next time you're up and kind of using that information in your next at bat.
Sabine's been on like a massive heater recently, just like you. How impressive is it to see him come in here? Maybe, not start the first couple of games of the year and then, firmly entrench himself into the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great dude. I got dinner with him last night, and he was just talking about how his confidence is through the roof and how he's just going great. And it's not surprising seeing what he's done in the fall and the spring and just the work he puts in and kind of the standard he has for himself.
Last season, you kind of pronounced yourself as an elite defensive center fielder. Just how much pride do you take on in that, and then how well do you think you're performing this season?
I take a lot of pride in it. I'd say I haven't made as many spectacular plays that I'd like to this year. I think that's part of our pitching staff just doing what they're supposed to be doing and being as good as they have been. So hopefully I'll get that chance here soon. But as long as they keep up what they're doing, I think we'll be just fine.
On that note, Riku, I don't know if you even noticed this, I'm sure you did, but at one point in a game this weekend, fly ball clearly to right. He even takes a few steps to the line. He put his hand up telling you, I've got it. I mean, what does that say that a teammate like that is doing that to you? Like, because he knows you probably could have run it down in right field.
I know there was a ball that I went for and I called for, and then he said I got it last second. And so kind of just talking to him about the communication of that, because I saw him going back and the ball was in, so I was like, uh-oh. But I don't know. I think part of it's that and part of it's just Riku being Riku. So
the communication, I mean, like, you've had a couple different people playing right field this year. What's that like as a center fielder?
I think just helping them understand priorities and what I can get to and what they need to worry about and just how we can cover the most ground out there and work together.
Likewise, you've had Tanner on the other side of you an awful lot. Yeah. Do you guys just know exactly what each other are thinking at this point? What's the communication like with your left fielder?
Time. If I give him one wrong call, he'll blame it on me. But I don't know. It's a lot of fun out there, joking around, stuff like that. But yeah, it's good.
What have you seen from Riku and Wright? Just how has he been doing?
He's got a really good arm, which I didn't expect, but he actually seems pretty natural out there. Still some little things that we can work on here and there to always improve, but for his first couple of games being out there, he looks like he's a natural out there.
It's funny Colby Shade says that about Riku Nishida's arm, because when he first went out there defensively, Joey and I kind of looked at each other. We're like, okay, he definitely has the speed to cover the gap, get to the line. Does he have the arm? And he's proven it on a couple of plays. He had an outfield assist already on a play to third. It's really his footwork, the way he positions himself behind the ball and gets his body behind a throw. It's impressive to watch him and Colby Shade play the outfield for that matter. Get a break, and we'll hear from the Duck closer after this break on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Did you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Josh Milleris was only needed for about an inning last week. We're going to hear from the Duck closer in a second, back here on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network. It's always good when you have a fresh closer entering a 4-game series. Josh Milleris, no way around it. He's been one of the best relief pitchers in the country this year. The Duck closer and the transfer from San Francisco.
I know it was only 1 inning pitch, but just how do you feel like you did overall?
Did fine. I mean, team's winning, so, I mean, that's the most important part. I mean, continue developing, in practice, and then when we have time in the weight room. So, I mean, I'm happy overall.
You've had an excellent start to the season. No runs, no earned runs allowed, 18 Ks, I think 5 or 6 blocks. Just where are you looking to improve upon from here?
Just keep improving my stuff, slowly as the season goes on, make sure that my sleep, nutrition, and then, workload is all managed, taken care of. Make sure I can keep climbing as the season goes on, instead of, burning out like happens to, some guys over the course of a season. It's inevitable. So just staying on top of all those things.
How much mental discipline does it take as a closer when the team's winning? You're not necessarily getting in all the time to have that mentality of staying ready. What's your approach to that? How do you do that mentally?
I mean, we always go down there around the 4th or 5th inning. So just, keeping myself locked into the game every single, time, no matter the score. Always being, ready that day to go in, if the situation does arise. I mean, baseball's a pretty weird game. I mean, the past couple weeks have shown that for our team. So, I mean, I'm happy that we're doing well. That's the most important thing.
You mentioned how you want to continue to climb and not burn out early in the season. Just how do you try and do that when you're only getting in once every 4 games?
Just keeping my, obviously, like, my times to get in multiple times per weekend, they're going to come. Season's got its ups and downs. I'm not too worried about that. Just staying patient, not pressing for anything, that'll lead to, that's going to lead to success, as a freshman early on, even as a sophomore, back in college, I would definitely, press, so just learning to, stay patient, knowing my, opportunities are going to come, and then just making the most of those.
I guess going off of that, just where do you feel like your arm is at right now? Just in terms of the going on the climb and like where you expect it to be versus where it actually is?
I would say like right now, it hasn't been 100%, any time that I've gone in, especially pitching in the cold, having to, wait, 7 or 8 innings. I know that once the warm weather comes, I'll start to, be feeling better, not as stiff as when I go in. So, just looking forward to that.
Are you and the staff looking forward to heading down to Arizona then? Because it's going to be quite a bit warmer than where it is here.
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys are very excited about that. This should be a fun weekend for us. Every game's important. No one game really has importance over the other for me because every one counts the same. But this will be a fun environment for us for 3 games, and then even. Looking ahead to the Oregon State series, I know it's supposed to be warmer as well. So, I mean, these next few weeks, once it picks up here, it should be fun.
Saying it didn't feel like 70 and sunny this weekend?
Oh, yeah. No, it's I know it's been cold up here, but I mean, once it starts to warm up, it's gonna be really fun.
Tanner just cleaned up on records awards this week, and he, he's the first one to say it's better when we get wins. But just as a team, how did it feel to see him not only clean up all those records, but then also take home the national hitter?
Oh, it's great to see. I mean, I'm super happy for him. He's been working his tail off to, be able to get into the position to, secure those records. I know he's going to keep doing his thing, and in order for those opportunities for, him and for us to keep winning and doing great things, just everyone takes care of, their work, puts the best version of themselves out there on the field every time. And, we'll have many more moments like that this year.
With Logan Mercado moving the rotation last week, we don't know the rotation this week yet, but with him moving there, and getting Matt Dallas to come out and score or throw multiple scoreless innings in a row, just how much confidence does that give you? Does that give the bullpen that even though you lose one guy, another one steps up?
Oh, it's great to see. You know, I think especially, you know, with our staff, with the ups and downs that we've had this season, just having guys start to solidify themselves right now, you know, obviously can't tell how it's going to be in the future, but at least for right now, you know, it's great to see. I think it gives a lot of other guys confidence, and then our, you know, coaching staff as well. You know, obviously I think, you know, everyone's expecting to, you know, keep going up and, you know, just keep getting stronger as the season goes on.
I guess from here on out, what are you and Angier working on right now? What are you still trying to improve upon?
I mean, just, you know, keep attacking the strike zone, working on a few minor mechanical adjustments to, you know, try and, you know, I guess throw harder, more effortlessly, being able to bounce back, you know, quicker, you know, when the opportunity does come up to where I have to pitch, you know, 2 or 3 times in a weekend. You know, cleaning those up, I think, will be, you know, a pretty big key for me moving forward. And then, you know, as our, you know, season goes on.
Your not your wind up, but your arm action is that short arm motion. I don't know if there's a technical term for it, but it's like James Karinchak, stuff, guys like that. Is that natural to you, or is that something that you had to work on to try to get to?
That was something I had to work on to get to. It started in my, I want to say sophomore fall. I'd been injured over the freshman summer. I had a long arm action that wasn't on time, so shortening that up, you know, helped me out. You know, now it's finding, okay, can I move the rest of my body more smoothly and be able to, you know, rotate better with my lower half so that I can, you know, make the most out of, you know, my body to throw harder.
Have you found that new arm action, or not new, but that arm action in general has given you more success, and has that led you to throw harder?
I think it's just helped me be, you know, healthier. Obviously, you know, one size doesn't fit all when it comes to pitching. It's what worked for me, and I'm just going to continue working with that. I know that they're like, for other guys, you know, longer arm action benefits them, you know, different, you know, release points, you know, with their front side, stuff like that, you know, all works for them. So just knowing what works for me has been the key.
The Duck closer, Josh Milleris, meeting with the media. You know, it's interesting. He's reflecting on the last couple weeks. Oregon's been in a position where they haven't really needed him to step up and go multiple days in a row. I'm here to bring in the insight that it's coming. It's going to happen. The same thing happened with Colby Summers early in the season last year. And then there was a point in time where Colby Summers pitched in something like 5 or 6 straight games. That's coming for Josh Milleris as the season moves on. And good to see him getting his feet wet here at Oregon and have a lot of success early. The Duck closer, Josh Milleris. Let's get a break, come back, and talk a little bit more Oregon baseball, check in on what else is going on around the athletic department on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider is brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Let's talk some Oregon women's golf. Busy week for Oregon women's golf in a couple of events. Let's start with the pro ranks at the LA Open. An interesting start for Sinchu Chen. Hasn't exactly had it going, but still a significant moment worth celebrating as she gets her first taste of LPGA Tour competition in Los Angeles. Teed off early today, didn't get off to the best start, and hopefully she could bounce back. It is also the Augusta National Women's Amateur. At the end of one round, there were two Ducks in the top 10 after firing one under 71s. Brianna Chacon, Cynthia Liu, both shot 71s. In round two, Liu shot up the leaderboard. She is now -3 overall. She finished around -2 today, tied for fourth after round two today. A really impressive round, and Chacon is still in the hunt as well after a 74 today, still +1 for the tournament. And, just a few shots back of being in the top 5 as that tournament progresses. So a significant week for Oregon women's golf. Of course, one of the best programs in the country. It was a good show today. Scott Phillips, appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow with more. I wanted to get to Christian Gonzalez today after his pro day. We may get to that tomorrow, maybe on Monday. But a busy show tomorrow previewing Oregon baseball against Arizona and Oregon softball in a rivalry series against Oregon State. Thanks to everybody. Go Ducks. Talk to you tomorrow.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit